And welcome to Zoom with Czarny. Today is Friday, May 26th. I'm one day late, but I am bringing you, after a one-week hiatus, this week's Zoom with Czarny. I'll be talking to the Lysander Democrats. They're running for town office out in Lysander, New York. And they are just a phenomenal group of people that are trying to make change in what is normally seen as red town, but a lot of change has been going on there. And we've actually had some electoral success out there in recent years as well. So stay tuned for my interview for that. We're headed into Memorial Day weekend here and going into the last few weeks of session. We've been doing voter registration presentations all week. I'm sorry, not voter registration, voting machines presentations all week. And because we're going to be bringing in new voting machines into Onondaga County, and that's been very exciting. We got our last presentation on Friday, and then we're going to make a decision probably early in the week and send it off to the county for approval. So that's big, exciting news for machines to come in before the general election. Speaking of the primary election, though, that's really right around the corner. Absentee ballots are available now. You can go to onvote.net and get those. And early voting starts in just a few weeks. So stay tuned for all of that. But now I'm going to get to my interview with the Lysander Town Democrats, who are running for supervisor, town board, and town judge. So stay tuned for that interview and check it out. Bye-bye. And I'm back. And I'm very happy to have my good friends, Will Stowell, Kevin Rode, and Ken Christopher. They are running for offices in the town of Lysander. You may have remembered a few weeks ago, I did a weekly walk on the town of Lysander and the changing demographics up there. Normally a very Republican town, but we've had some success up in Lysander. And these three gentlemen are running for town office. Just a show note right at the top of the show here. Mr. Stowell is dealing with his child who's with him, and he'll be in and out of camera if you see him. So, and there he's back with the baby. So, Kevin, Ken, Will, thank you for coming on Zoom with Czarny.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks for having us.
Kevin, you're running for Lysander Town Supervisor. Will, you're running for Lysander Town Board, and Ken, you're running for Lysander Town Justice. And that's not the quite full slate, but a pretty almost all of the positions that are running in Lysander this year, and one of our top slates we've had in several years. So I really wanted to have you on and introduce you to the voters. But because this is an introduction, I think that's what's called for here. So we'll start with you, Kevin, and then go to Will and then Ken. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay. I am 47 years old. Been a resident of Lysander all but probably 2 or 3 years of my life. Grew up here. I've run for office numerous times. Ran for town supervisor in 2019. Ran in 2011. Got my start into politics on my own party line, and ran for town board a couple times. Town clerk, was successful at town board in 2021 with a conservative endorsement, which isn't a normal thing for Democrats, but the Conservative Party in Lysander feels that we need to change directions with our current status quo on our town board and move the town forward, at least in openness and transparency and dealing with the citizens. So that's a brief synopsis.
And Kevin, I know you said that you're 47 because you wanted to get a dig in that you're a little younger than me, but that's fine.
Of course.
So Will, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 42. I've lived in the Lysander area since 2015. We bought the house here in Baldwinsville, and I have a wife, Teresa, and 2 kids. This is Fiametta. She is about 15 months old, and a son, William, who is 8. in third grade at Eldon. I originally grew up in Elmira, New York. After I graduated from SUNY Fredonia, I kind of traveled in the less than truckload industry all around the Northeast for 17 years. And, this is where we finally settled. Met my wife on Long Island, and we moved up here after actually a month before William was born. And then, matriculated to Baldwinsville once we purchased our home. I love the community here, and we're looking at, the reason for running is just being able to serve our community. So that's it.
That's awesome. And Ken, I don't think we've actually met before until this Zoom call. I mean, I've heard of your candidacy and out there, but here's a good opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the voters.
Well, thank you. I'm Ken Christopher. I'm originally from Weedsport, New York, about half an hour down the highway. I went to Lemoyne College, graduated in 2004, then went to Syracuse University College of Law, graduated in 2007. That puts me at 40 these days. I have an 11-year-old daughter and an 11-month-old son. I've lived in the Baldwinsville address for the last 6 years, but prior to moving into my current house, I was technically in the town of Clay. My daughter attends Word of Life, and I have been a practicing criminal defense attorney since 2008. So that's what brings me to the running for town justice. I enjoy the work. I've been doing criminal defense for basically the entirety of my legal career. And I have been in the town and village court since the very beginning of my practice. So I'm very familiar with how they work. And I think I can bring a little bit of change in perspective and experience to the Lysander Town judge position specifically.
Awesome. So, we're going to just kind of do this round robin style. We'll be talking about and kind of flipping it up. But you're all three running for the Lysander offices, but they're all three different offices. And we'll start with you this time. You're running for town board. Why are you running for town board, and why should voters care about that?
So I'm running for town board as a way to serve the community. I believe in the democratic process, and I ran for town board the last go around and lost, but I really enjoyed going around talking to people, finding out what everybody thought about the town. This go around, there wasn't a candidate that stepped up that wanted to do it. And I said, hey, I'm more than happy to do it. Go around, knock on doors, meet people, and basically make sure that the Democrats and the Republicans are going out and engaging the community. I felt that if I didn't run this time around, I mean, it's kind of tough with a baby, to really chunk out the time. But I felt that if I wasn't going to do it, then I don't think that the Republican candidates necessarily would have knocked on as many doors as they should. And I just want to make sure that as many voters are spoken to as possible in this cycle. So here I am, and now that the weather's nice, I'm excited to get out and cruise around the neighborhood with Fiametta and with William if he's not running around with his friends. So.
Well, Piametta is going to win you a lot of votes, I think. She's very cute. Ken, tell us about why you're running for town justice and why voters should care about that position.
I'm running based to try to bring a little bit different experience to that seat here in Lysander. I know our current justices. I think they do a good job, but they don't have the same background and experience that I do. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to bring to the position is a little bit of perspective from the 15 years of criminal defense work that I've done, and a little bit of perspective on the practice itself of, things that I, as a practitioner, liked and didn't like about my experience in town village courts, things that my clients over the years have said, pluses or minuses about their experience in town village courts, and try to build a friendly court experience, but also one that understands the criminal law from the defense perspective, and all of the nuances and changes that have come in New York law over the past few years. So that's what I'm hoping to bring to the table there.
And Kevin, you're running for the big job. You're running for town supervisor again. You did win town board, so you've been part of town government the last couple of years. Why do you want to take the step up to run the town of Lysander as supervisor, and why should voters care about the who's their supervisor in Lysander?
Well, 2021, I was successful running for town board, and it was great. It's been, almost 18 months here, a year and a half that I've been on the town board. It is a very interesting seat to be on the other side of things. For so many years, I attended board meetings. I would give my input to the town board, and to be able to see the other side of it and being to deal with the numbers, it's eye-opening. The reason I'm running for town supervisor is being on the town board. I have seen I would almost call it like a brain drain in the town offices. We're not very deep for staffing, and we have people that do many different jobs. Most of the clerks are clerks of multiple positions. They're not just doing one job. Everybody cares about the community working in the office. And I just feel that they need someone more of a leadership role to right the ship. And our meetings, town board meetings, I feel the public input is one of the greatest things. And we have had meetings in the last year and a half. Some of them didn't last 7 minutes. So to not allow the public to, if they're going to take the time to come to a meeting, to not allow them to be able to speak. Our current supervisor has now limited town board meetings to agenda items only. So if you're not on the agenda, it's very hard to get on it, and because it's the supervisor's meeting. And if there's only 2 things on the agenda to begin with, that we don't necessarily tell the public what might be added to it, unfortunately. We're not really adhering to the state's 24-hour notice, which is I'm also not a fan of. People come, take time out of their day. We should at least hear them, whether it's the same complaint over and over. If we haven't addressed it, they've got a legitimate concern that they should be coming back and asking why we haven't addressed it. If there's things that we could do to correct it. So a lot of what I'm running, and also this year, there's a lot of things going on in development, microns and clay, but we have a couple big things going on in Lysander. We're adjusting our comprehensive land use plan. It's 7 years in. We're modifying it, making changes. There's a lot of pressure on the outer communities outside of clay. We have a very large project, Melvin Farm proposal, for up to possibly 31 apartment buildings, about 590 living units, that is proposed on Route 370. So this is a very pivotal year in the development of Lysander. One of the bigger ones probably since Timber Banks was built 15 years ago, right before the housing crash. So there's a lot of things going on that I feel we need a town supervisor that has their hand on the pulse, and also being a Democrat with Democratic leadership at the state level. Between our state senators, we went from having Senator Mannion to Senator May with the redistricting. It's nice to have an ear in Albany that can help get things done. And I've seen a lot of stuff get taken care of with Democrats being in office at the state level that I really didn't see any movement on for the few years that we were sort of in limbo in Lysander when Senator DeFrancisco left. So It was nice to have Senator Mannion. It's great to have Senator May, and I look to move those things forward. I feel that you got to have a seat inside the office at the table in Albany to get some money and funds coming back this way to take care of citizens' problems and issues. So that's why I'm running.
Well, 7 minutes. I think I've taken longer to order dinner than a town board meeting there, but that's a great platform to run on. Public accountability is something that is very, very, very much needed. So we'll I think what I'd like to talk about now is, like, if you're successful this November, what are some of the things that you want to do right away? I think this time did we go? Will, did we go to you on that last question? Yeah, we did. Okay, all right. So you were first off. Yeah, I should keep track of what I'm doing here, but it's hard to keep track of two people, let alone three. But you know what? We'll start off with you, Ken. If you're successful, and you win this November, what are some of the things that you want to do as the next town justice in Lysander, or areas you want?
I want to start out by trying to make it a very efficient and well-run court. I want to be able to have good relationships with the individuals that are appearing before the court and the community that surrounds it. I want to build it so that, when we have court business, we try to get court business done in a reasonable period of time and not just have people coming out there for pushing dates. As a practitioner and somebody who's represented clients in those cases, I know that that's a major piece of frustration, that, a lot of people don't understand why their cases take so long or why they're showing up for no reason. So I want to kind of make sure that my court, as it would be, is run very efficiently, that we try to have individuals there when we can actually do something with their files and their cases, and that everybody feels like they're heard. I want people, whether it's a simple traffic ticket or a criminal case or a landlord-tenant dispute, to be able to feel that they've had their day in court and their voice was heard appropriately. So those are the things that I'm looking to sort of participate in. I've got experience running my own office, so I'm hoping that I can transition that experience into efficiently running the courtroom.
And Kevin, when you're successful and you are the next town supervisor of Lysander, what are some of the things that you're hoping to tackle in your first term?
In my first term, I'd like to get, as I alluded to, about the difference, the lack of the disconnect at the town office between the administrative and clerical and everybody, the employees of town hall, the employees in the highway department, the highway supervisor who is elected. I want to get all those people working as a cohesive unit, which could be a very tall task. We've, in many years in Lysander, we usually see the town board at odds with the highway superintendent 6-8 months into their term. I have a great relationship with our highway superintendent. I'm on the highway committee as chairman. The people in Lysander voted 10 years ago for an elected official to be highway supervisor, and they feel very strongly about doing that. So he's elected just like us. We've got to work together. He has a majority of the budget for the town of Lysander. It's like 60% of the budget goes to highway. And I think he's very good. He's 18 months into the job as myself, but he's willing to learn. He's done this work before. He understands the ins and outs of it. I think we can make a very cohesive working unit that hasn't happened in quite a few years. I get along great with people. Obviously, we're in a Republican town. I have much support on the Republican side, surprising support, as this early in. Hopefully I maintain that through the next 6 months and am victorious on election day. But also, Ken alluded to the courts. There's a lot of places in Lysander where when we do budgets, it was just an afterthought. We have to start changing what we do in court. We have part-time clerks. It makes it difficult for people to come in, pay their fines. We need to look at that and address those issues. And it's a lot of internal items that need to be done. The town supervisor needs to be knocking on our senators' doors, taking care of problems that our businesses have, that our residents have. So we need to make these things work. And that'll be my first goal for at least my first year, probably my first term in office.
And Will, when you're successful and you're the newest member of the Lysander Town Board, what are you hoping to accomplish in your first term?
To really work to get the public included back into the process, and also to help Kevin start working with getting everybody working together again. I've been in management for many years, and there's one thing that I've always been very good at is to bring people together to reach a common goal, and that goal is to serve the people of Lysander. So I mean, that's really it. I've seen a lot of public hearings where people in the town have sort of felt bamboozled by a lack of communication. I want to make sure that we make sure that everything is is transparent and above board before we start moving on to things that we're deciding.
Well, we're starting to get near the end of the time that I like to have in these podcasts. I feel like people stop listening after a certain period, but I always like to end these podcasts with the same question. What haven't we talked about? What's an issue or something that you want the public to know more about you, your background, your campaign, the town of Lysander, whatever you'd like. We're going to start with you, Kevin. So what haven't we talked about that you'd like the public to know?
We've got a lot of, as I discussed, the Melvin Farm proposal, 31 apartment buildings, small solar farm. As Lysander starts to transition from a rural urban area to something that could possibly become more of a clay, which scares a lot of people with, it's going to happen. Lysander is where a lot of people live. The growth in Lysander is always residential. Our county is starting to push higher density housing. So, we need to have smart growth. It's going to be a big deal. When Will and I win in November, we're going to have a lot on our plate of, looking at the correct way to grow the town. There will be some bumps in the road, and we will have some very tough decisions to make. But I think ultimately, when you work with the residents, you get their input. It'll be better for everybody. And having the meetings where it's explained. A lot of people have confusion because of the lack of explanation. I think we can solve that problem with the right people on the town board. Thank you.
I think Will is off with his baby, so we're gonna skip and come back. Oh no, he's back. Will, real quick, we gotcha. No, it's good. I think that actually shows incredible dedication. As you're not a single father. The mom is out at a work event right now that could not be avoided, but you're still a trooper and sticking in on this, and so I really appreciate that. So, Will, what haven't we talked about? What's something that you want the voters to know?
I'm gonna hopefully be knocking on your door, and I'm just gonna ask a question about what you think our town should be. And that's really what it is. The doors that I've knocked on so far, people are worried about a million different issues. But as Kevin said, we are going to be growing. We have a lot of opportunity here. What do we want that to look like for ourselves and for the community at large? I said it the last time, that I ran. We're kind of at the cusp of something changing here. And it's up to us to decide what we want it to be, because in my opinion, we don't want it to be play. We don't want it to be something that, doesn't have any character or, vibrancy, where people just drive through it. So let's just, that's all I got. But yeah, I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
And Ken, what haven't we talked about for you? What is something that you want the voters to know about you, yourself, or the town justice position?
One thing I think I'd like the voters to know that I kind of learned from knocking on doors during the petitioning cycle is a lot of people have questions for me of, what I would do or what I think about different issues. And unfortunately, as I think, Dustin, you may know, being a judicial candidate, I'm not allowed to give my opinions on a lot of the issue type things. So I want the voters to know that I'm not avoiding their questions when they ask me stuff like that. I do have strong beliefs about things, but it's something that I'm not allowed to share. But that being said, I want them to know that if I am elected, I'm willing to listen to, people that come before me as a justice and to members of the community for how they would like their court to be run and the things that they consider important to them, and take that into consideration as part of the judicial process. I think my experience speaks for itself, and I hope that that's something that the voters will see, that having somebody with years of criminal defense background in a job that is primarily based in criminal law is something that we should have at our local level, so that the person that is making the decisions about very impactful moments in people's lives understands the law and the impact that those decisions can make. So that's what I'm looking forward to do.
Great. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on Zoom with Czarny. In the show notes, I'm going to put, where people can find you and the Town of Lysander Democratic Committee, which is helping run your campaigns. Obviously it's a long road from now to November, but as we, discussed in that last weekly wonk, the Town of Lysander is changing. And while a lot of people think of it as a blood red town, it voted for Joe Biden. It has tendencies to vote in local races as well. So I hope that the town of Lysander looks at your resumes, looks at what you want to do, and gives you a fair shake this election. And we have about 6 more months to go before election day, but there's plenty of time to get on doors. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming on Zoom with Czarny.
Thank you, Dustin. And thank you for all you do. This is a great outreach you do for the Democratic candidates, and I think it's awesome. It's great having somebody as dedicated to you at the, Board of Elections and Commissioner, and I appreciate everything you do.
And I didn't even have to pay Kevin to say that. So you
don't. I mean, bar none, you do a great job.
Thank you, Kevin. And you do a great job serving the community out there in Lysander as well. And I hope that Ken and Will be joining you.
Hopefully, we'll all 3 get across the line.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you so much. And that was my interview with the Lysander Town Democrats. It's a great slate of candidates. So make sure you check out the show notes to find out where you can get in touch with the Lysander Democrats and help them out in this fall's campaign. They're ready for supervisor, town board, town justice, and you're gonna have a lot of choices out there in Lysander. So I hope you tune in and vote if you're out in Lysander. This weekend I will be taking a little bit of a break again. I haven't done a Zoom with Czarny in a couple of weeks, but I will be returning to that the following weekend with the Village of North Syracuse. But this weekend I am promising my family I'm spending a little time off. Next week I will be doing a commissioner car on Tuesday. We'll be talking about the primary election and the last few weeks of the legislative session. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing a Zoom with Czarny with the Liverpool Democrats slate that are running Democrats in Liverpool for the first time in 20 years in their June village elections. So stay tuned for that. and I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Bye-bye.